And
Thank you.
the floor is all yours, dear. Thank you.
Super. Let me just share my screen. I think you need to, it says host disabled participant screen sharing. So I need that.
Give me 1 second. Yeah, all good.
All good.
That should be you co-host now, Janet. So
Thank
all
you.
yours there. Thank you.
Great. What's going on here? So. Okay, last week we started with Jim Rohn, so I thought, well, I'll start this week with Jim Rohn as well. And really these next few weeks is about becoming more of ourselves. So if you want to have more, you have to become more. And for things to change, that you have to change. And for things to get better, you have to get better. For things to improve, you have to improve. And if you grow, then everything grows for you. So I love that quote. And really the work that I do is all about helping people and myself. Every time I teach this, I get that little bit better too. So, you know, it has an expansion principle to everything. So in these next 6 weeks, I'll just, again, for the people who weren't here last week, what we're aiming to achieve in these next few weeks, we're roughly about 3 hours worth of my training. You will become more confident. You'll have a deeper understanding of your true potential. And I'm going to share with you a reliable visual system to a rich and successful life. And one moment. And all of these are guaranteed to increase your success with your Cash FX business. So last week we were talking about, I introduced myself and we were talking about the thinking preparation. I will recap that for those who weren't here, but we sort of had a really good look about what's going on under the hood, as we like to say. And then this is week 2, and we're going to talk about the first 3 principles of Napoleon Hill from the Think and Grow Rich. And then as we go through the weeks, we'll cover all of them. And then at week 6, we're going to recap. It's your time to fly, and we'll have lots of Q&A. We will do Q&A later, though, because it's good to do that as we go. For some reason. Okay, so just a brief recap again to who I am. I'm known as the Happiness Millionaire, and I am a Napoleon Hill certified instructor. I'm an author, a photographer, and my book is Happiness Millionaire, Positive Images for a Rich and Powerful Life. And I won the Janie Loves Award back in 2017, which was actually the launch year of my book. I joined Cash FX last September, and like many people, I was a slow start because I just wanted to see, you know, my own experience. I think it's great having everyone else's stories that are really powerful, but there's nothing more powerful than having your own story. So that was kind of where I was with Cash FX. And now I'm really growing that business because it marries beautifully to what I do with the Happiness Millionaire. So over the years, I've become a speaker. I've spoken with the Napoleon Hill Foundation in Malaysia. I've spoken up and down the UK, many places. I've met these wonderful people. And I think last week I shared when I had my arm around Sir Richard Branson, all I could think of was how amazingly soft his jacket was. So that's what you're getting. And okay. So Napoleon Hill came into my life when this booklet came through my door, and I was at a very dark time on the verge of a breakdown. Again, my whole story is in my book, which I will make available to you, but you'll get more of that information there. I'd rather get on with the training. So this came through my door at a dark time, and these words just really, really spoke to me because I realized I didn't want antidepressants. I wanted my life to grow, as Jim Rohn was talking about. So this was a 30-day free trial of Napoleon Hill's audio tapes. So we're going back to the year 2000 when this happened. And I listened to them over and over and over again, and they started to change my life. So I realized the power that this man had. So I decided I needed to know more about him. But it was the year 2000, Google hadn't been invented, and Yahoo was the main search engine. So I searched Napoleon Hill, and I found the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and I was one of the first people to do their online study course. And from that, I became a Napoleon Hill certified instructor. It was always my dream and my passion to become a photographer. And for some reason, I felt I needed a degree. So the next thing I did was I got a degree in photography. And 10 years later, the Napoleon Hill Foundation got in touch with me and asked if I would contribute my success story to the book, The Path to Riches. Again, all available on Amazon, some great stories in this book. And they also asked if I would illustrate the book with Napoleon Hill's principles from Think and Grow Rich. And this absolutely changed my life. It was in 2009, I think, 2009, 2010. And the world had gone crazy. The stock market had crashed. At that point, I had a professional commercial photography business. But my clients were marketing consultants, and marketing consultants were dropping like flies. So I found my market disappeared. And so therefore my business began to struggle. But when the Napoleon Hill Foundation gave me this opportunity, it totally changed my life and took me on a completely different direction. And that was when Happiness Millionaire was born, really. So if you want to find out more about me and those things I've just spoken to you about, if you go to happinessmillionaire.com, you can get lots more information. And these pack of cards, I do have a few available. Basically, they're at the end of the run. And at this moment in time, I don't intend to get any more done, but they are fantastic. Here's a little picture of them. So they're just a little pocketbook, fit in your handbag or your glove compartment or your pocket, whatever. And so they are available on my website. But I do know that later, Brian has a little announcement to make also regarding those cards. The book is available on Amazon, but I've also made available to you my ebook, which I've made £2. On Amazon, it's $9.99. So you can go to my website and you can get that for £2. Now, I don't think it's going to be on Amazon for very much longer, though, because last week, and hi to everybody who got my book last week. I've heard from quite a few of you and the feedback has been super, so thank you. But if you're using it on Kindle, I think this has highlighted to Amazon that I'm making this book available elsewhere. And I received quite a threatening email from them saying that I should stop selling it everywhere else because it's on Kindle or it'll come off. So I was like, well, I'm not going to have threatening letters from anybody. So if you're using it on Kindle, you may find that it disappears. But there are also 3 other formats. So it isn't just Kindle. You can get it on PDF or you can use it on iBooks and places like that. So, you know, let's not worry about the Amazon mafia. And then the other thing that I put together my complete training course of all of these things I'm about to teach you. So if you wanted that, you can get that along with the ebook. I'll tell you more about that as we go. So I will tell you more about that later. I can. Okay, so let's have a very quick recap from last week. And I want you now, for those who were here, if you type in the box when I ask these, then, because I want to make this a bit more interactive and a little bit more fun. So not that it wasn't any fun, obviously. So we were talking about a poor mindset and taking it over to a rich mindset. So if you type into the think a poor mindset stood for and what a rich mindset stands for, then I know that Brian is going to keep an eye on the chat box and we can talk about those as we go. So type in there what you think a poor mindset was and what you think a rich mindset was. So we were also talking about what's going on here. One moment. we were also talking about how thoughts are energetic. So what we think about, it has an energy, and it goes out to the world. And this has been going on for centuries, thousands of years. In fact, Napoleon Hill put it together in that book, but actually it goes back thousands of years. Know that our thoughts have this energy, and that what we think about comes about. So, but to get to understand that a little bit more, we were talking about how our thoughts, each thought we have creates an image in our mind. This is all working at the back of the brain. So our thoughts create an image. It's the images then that create the emotion, and the emotion causes us to take an action. And then the action creates an experience. It's our experiences that then continue to feed the mind. So we want to create thoughts and are going to give us the experiences that we want. And that's why we're here today and for the next few weeks. So we're going to be working at creating thoughts and images using Napoleon Hill's 13 principles and the images that I've created to be able to feed the brain with. I hope all that makes sense. Normally I'm in a room and we have conversation here, but so this is the whole purpose of this course. So I hope you've been writing in the comments. Brian, has anybody written in there what they thought the poor and the rich was?
For some reason in the chat, you can't text everyone.
Yeah,
oh, can't you?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether the chat's available to everybody, Janet.
Okay.
Check that out. Okay.
It might be with me screen sharing as well, because I can't see it on my thing. Okay, well, I'll tell you
right.
then.
No, a lot of chats.
I'll crack on. So the poor mindset is the poverty mindset. When life gets off balance, then we get a bit overwhelmed, that then leads to having regrets. And what we want to do is, and what also happens is we tend to bounce between a poor mindset and a rich mindset. This is the inner dialogue that I'm going to introduce you to. So the poor mindset, we want to create a rich mindset for relationships, income, confidence, and health. So this is about having an all-round happy and fulfilling life, of which this is where Cash FX then comes into that. So let's now go on to the images. So Napoleon Hill, these principles are based on his time-tested, fail-proof work. So it is so worth adopting these principles into your life. I can't share that passionately enough. So these are, like I say, the images are based on his principles, but really that's where my work ends. So let's have a look at the images that I created. So the first three principles of Napoleon Hill's system are, the very first one is desire. Then our desire is then followed by the faith and belief that we have in that desire, and followed by the auto-suggestion. The auto-suggestion is then the language that we use that is based on our faith and belief that's linked with the desire. So you'll notice that they all actually link together and they are numbered. So on the back of my cards, you'll notice there's numbers on all of them. I call these three principles, if you imagine all of Napoleon Hill's principles as success ingredients for your success and happiness rich cake, then these three principles are the base layer, and they are your thought principles, and they are the base layer of this cake because everything else builds on top of that. And I'm really quite excited about sharing that with you over the next few weeks. So let's go right back to the very first one. I want you to have a really close look at this image and start to connect with it and see what it's saying to you. And I love this quote by Napoleon Hill all the time, that desire is the starting point of all achievement. It is not a wish or a want, but a keen, pulsating desire. Now, I've broken that down for my own personal life, is that desire is the start of everything. every single thing that you want in your life, whether it's a good relationship or to lose weight or to get wealthier or to have a nice day or whatever, to become happier. Desire is the starting point. To just want something is not quite enough. Desire is the most powerful thing. So let's now take a look at the meaning of the word desire. So this is, I went back to the old dictionaries to find out where the word desire actually comes from and why it is so powerful. And what I love about this quote is that this is the original sense is perhaps awaiting what the stars will bring. And so this is from the phrase desidere, from the stars. And that's what I feel that desire really is. And that's why I believe it is so powerful, is that I think that we have a much deeper connection. We can set out what we want, we can use all our brains, but we've got to connect from here to our desire. In my online training course, this is how I set. We don't have time to go into all of them really today. But in the online training course, it's set out like this. And the reason why it's got all these spikes is that you write down what this image means to you and how it links to your personal desires and how you personally want your life to be. And I'm emphasizing the word personal because it's so easy to get sidetracked into somebody else's idea of success and happiness. And if you follow someone else's, you won't find it because this is about yours. So take a good look. I wish we were interactive because I wanted to create a dialogue around this, but be jotting this down because we can chat in a few minutes anyway. So think about what this image actually means to you. When you consider what your desire is and you get the feelings, you hear all the time, you've got to know your why. Your why is the most powerful thing. And it really is, because it's your why that will become the seed of the courage you need to follow that desire. I hope that makes sense. Your why is the seed of what will encourage you to follow your desire. Now, when I've been speaking and people, I show the rock climbing image and people go, oh my God, there's no way I could do that. That image itself seems overwhelming. And so I say, but what if you had lions and tigers and bears and you had to get away? Wouldn't you desire to get away because you have this desire to live? Well, that would make anybody climb that rock face. And but the thing is, we don't want to climb the rock face with anxiety and stress. We want to climb the rock face with confidence and purpose. So what if those lions and tigers and bears could actually encourage you to climb the rock face rather than scare you to climb the rock face? And I'm just going to do a little promotion here because of where I found these images. This bottom one here is actually, it's from noahsark.org, and it's a woman out in the States, and she's just brought in all these like orphaned animals, and they now all get on with one another. And I just found that really beautiful. And I also found that whole thing very encouraging to say, let's encourage one another to fulfill our desires. The other thing about having, so now you've got your desire and you know why you're doing this. So now it's time to set goals. There's no point in setting goals before you've done this work. In fact, I'd probably say set your goals after you've done this whole thought layer, to be honest. But when we set our goals that we need to have in place before actually writing down what those goals are. So before setting your goals, I would say, learn about what it is you want to achieve. What do you want from your desire, and learn about it. So we're in Cash FX. So the best thing to do with Cash FX is really, really learn about cash FX, you know, follow all those training, come onto these, really learn about it. And then when you're clear on that, you can really set your goals out. It's also learn from other people and see yourself achieving the goal. If you can't see it, then you can't believe it. And if you don't believe it, you just simply won't achieve it. And you'll understand that more at the end of this today's training. So the other thing I love about this goal image, apart from this is my youngest son's foot in the picture, they were all keen rugby players. And the other thing I love about this is not really the most important thing. Imagine you've got all these team players. Nobody achieves anything alone. So you need your team players. And nobody starts to play any sport until they know about it. They've learned the rules and more as you go. But you get so many things in place before going to kick that ball over those goalposts. So I hope that explains a little bit more about putting goals together and how to put the goals together. Once you've done all that work, then you can set your intention, because intention is even more powerful than a goal. But you need your overall intention, and then you chunk it down and set those goals. And the way Napoleon Hill suggests doing this, and again in the pack, this is so this is the card from this little pack. You see that. And so then you just reverse it. And that's where you write these goals down. So Napoleon Hill says, state, and this can be losing weight, anything, but you state the actual figure that you want to achieve. So state the amount of money you wish to achieve. And then the next thing is you say, what will I give in return? Because you cannot receive without giving. That is an infinite flow. You can't do one without the other, or you'll stop it. It's like a dead end. So what are you going to aim for? What are you going to give back? And the all important by when. Now you state the date because it sets you into action. That's the key motivator. And then you state underneath why you are doing this. And then you feed your mind daily, all about that, every day, every moment. And if you get a little bit hesitant, you feed it all over again. And then Earl Nightingale, people with goals succeed because they know where they are going. So that's a very quick section on desire. The next principle is the faith principle. And faith is not something that you grasp. It is something that you grow into. And again, that goes back, keep doing your goal cards, keep feeding your mind, and then your faith starts to build up, basically. But we all jump from fear to faith, and fear and faith are two sides of the same coin. But the beauty is you can flip that coin. So when you recognize a state of fear, you know, maybe you're procrastinating calling somebody to introduce them to this opportunity, then you can flip that coin into faith and belief. And you can do that because of all that work that you've now just done. So keep one of these coins in your pocket and be prepared to flip it at any time. Now, the other image that I want to share with you today is the auto-suggestion image. And, you know, Henry Ford was absolutely bang on the money when he said, if you say you can or say you can't, you are right. There's not even a you may be right. You absolutely are right. Simply because what we think and what we say are the actions that we take, and those actions create our experiences that feed our mind all over again. So I hope you can see how this is all starting to connect. Now, the reason I chose this image, and I do hope that while I'm talking, you're writing down what these images are saying specifically to you, because this is about you, right? So this image I chose about walking over hot coals, and if any walked over hot coals, you will know that there's no way you can walk over the hot coals if you are afraid. If you've got the wrong language going on in your head, you wouldn't walk over, or you might walk over slowly because you're anticipant. But when you have the right language in your head, you can walk boldly over hot coals and you don't burn your feet. And it does instill confidence and strength. And that's what the words that we use in our mind do. So let's have a quick look. I believe that there are 3 types of auto-suggestion, and I write a lot deeply about this in my book, actually, because I think we need an expansive life. There's not much point just thinking about the language when there are other bits that can help you. Language is one of them. If you say you can or say you can't, you're absolutely right. If you say I'm too fat or I'm too stupid or whatever you say, you're absolutely right. If you want to change it, change that language. But then we have the visual suggestion. What we look at has a massive impact on what we say to ourselves and what we believe. And so let's say, for instance, somebody's living in a little council house, but really they want to live in a nice big house, a detached or whatever. It's not the house that they want. It's the whole lifestyle that goes around the house. But if their mind can only see the lifestyle around the council house setting, then that is too far. So you have to keep feeding the mind visuals to take you to this specific place. And then we have body suggestion. And body suggestion, for anybody who knows Amy Cuddy, out into the public. So what you can do, let's do a little interaction, because I would normally get you up. Oh, right. So everyone just stand up. Come on, I can see 1 or 2 of you. So stand up. Who's that I can see? Nobody's standing up. Right, stand up, because Amy Cuddy is really, thank you, Brian. All right, and Amy Cuddy is really powerful. If you're feeling a little bit sort of intimidated or weak, one of the power poses, put your hands on your hips like so, standing nice and firm. And boy, when you have a nice straight spine, it really brings this sense of energy and power into you. And if you want a little bit more power, then you put your arms in the air and you go, absolutely, I'm on this. And what that gives you is a sense of being and a sense of purpose. So just tap into how you use your body and what your body is actually saying to other people also. Now, I know we're in lockdown and you're thinking, but what does the body matter, you know? But it matters to what's going on in your own head. And then remember, the thoughts are energy and other people pick them up. So it's important to get what's going on in here right first. And all these visual and body and language suggestions are very, very powerful. As we go through this course, you're going to see how these impact everything else that comes again later with the people you meet and even that higher level thinking. Right. I love this image. And for the people who have received these cards this last week, this image has been my little treat. I've had I've got some of these little cards here, so I've been popping those in. Now, the focus image, again, until you've done the work that I've just been talking about, then there's no point in trying to focus, because focus on what? And even if the language in your head isn't correct, that you will keep focusing and moving your focus, because 1 minute you believe and the next minute you don't. 1 minute I'm in the state of fear and the next minute I'm in the state of faith. Well, you can't focus on anything until you have done the thought story behind this image, actually. And bear in mind, the images that I'm sharing are images that I've taken. And this image was taken just up the road. It was one July day, glorious sunshine. And I knew that I wanted to create this image, but the circumstances just never appeared. So this was the perfect day. So I dragged my daughter out of bed. She was a teenager at the time. I dragged her out of bed. I've got a beautiful antique down the road from me. So I borrowed this gorgeous magnifying glass and we went up the hill and put this wood together. I got my daughter to hold the magnifying glass and I was all ready with my camera. And she's holding the magnifying glass. Nothing was happening. And I must admit, I was starting to think that this is meant to set something on fire, but we'll keep going and see what happens. So she was getting bored and she kept moving the magnifying glass. I'm going, you have to keep the magnifying glass still. It must stay on that one same place, you know, but hold the magnifying glass still. We waited some more. And she went, Mom, can we just go and get some matches and set it on fire? Nobody will know. And I said, well, but we would know. And we're cheating and it's just wrong. So just hold the magnifying glass still. And so she did. And we were really committed to this. And very soon, that little bit of smoke started to come off the wood. That smoke is not photoshopped in. It's absolutely true. And I started to take lots of pictures. And the excitement that we both felt when we achieved this focus, that's actually what it feels like with your life and when you are creating your life on purpose and matching your desire. So a really powerful, powerful picture. Okay, let's bring this to a close. So next week, we're going to go on to the next 3 principles, which are specialized knowledge, your imagination, and creating an organized plan. And you'll discover why all these 3 are really important and why they then build that we've already covered. So I hope you've enjoyed that and you've got a lot out and that you've been taking lots of notes. So again, if you want to connect with me, my email is info@happinessmillionaire.com. There's a lot more on the website. And also, so like I say, I've got pocketbooks available, but not very many. If you want to follow along this course, then I recommend getting the ebook for just the £2. I just wanted to do a little introduction for you. And I'm going to show you something else about that in a moment also. When you then this training course is literally everything. And it's a really deep dive. I used to do a weekend training course. I will be doing them again in the future. And for that, they were like 1,500 quid for the weekend. And I do sell this program on my website for that price. I've basically given you everything that I've got just for £97. And it's only available until the end of our training. But you also get another training package, which goes deeply into the rich and the poor. And again, I've had loads of feedback from this. I actually wasn't going to say anything at this point, but I've had such great feedback that I just thought I've got to share this with you here. And so when you go to my website, you will see this page. So once you've gone through to get the book, it will come to this page. The other thing I've experienced this last week are these 2 tick boxes here. A few people have got in touch because they haven't received their ebook. And I discovered that it's because this box here needs to be ticked. So this one is your GDPR. This one is for you to get your product. So please tick that, and then it'll all come through seamlessly. If you want to take advantage of the offer, then you scroll down this page and there's another tick box. If you don't want this, please don't tick the tick box. You just hit the purchase button and that will just give you the book. Okay, so I wanted to share that because those are the problems that I've encountered this last week. Okay, so that is me. I'm Janet Jones. I'm the Happiness Millionaire. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I believe we may just have a few minutes for Q&A. Do you think, Brian?
Absolutely. If anyone wishes to unmute their mic, we'd be more than happy to take some questions. I just wanted to mention one thing, you said there about focus. And if you, the anagram with focus, follow one course until successful. Right. And that's what focus means. So there's a good one for you. Follow one course until successful. And I think we've got a number of people who are definitely focused on their cash FX businesses. That was a great, great training there this morning, Janet. And I think, we've over 200 people on the call here. They're following intently and looking forward to the rest of the course. So I'm going to stop the recording. We can pause the recording, and then we'll take questions.